Hi everyone, I'm Kalee Blake with American Urban Radio Networks, and I have two very special guests with me today. Go ahead,
Tamara.
Tamara Toomey,
Mm-hmm.
and Daphne Duplay from the cast of Beyond the Gates on CBS. Okay, so my first question for you guys is Beyond the Gates suggests some exclusivity, mystery, or even hidden truths. What do you think the title gives to the context of the show?
All of those things. It's you're gonna peek behind the gates of this affluent family, but you're also getting a taste of everything, right? We have all of our characters. People are gonna tune in, and they're all relatable. So I think you're gonna get spiciness. You're gonna get deception. You're gonna get love. You're gonna all the things that make a good soap, a soap, right? So.
Perfect. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with everything she said.
How do you guys ensure authenticity in portraying a wealthy black family, especially on daytime television?
Well, the beautiful thing is that, the head writer is a black woman for the first time in television history. The executive producer is a black woman for the first time in television history. The majority of the writing room are African American people. So it can't help but be authentic because it's coming from us for the first time in history. So that lends a lot of authenticity to it. And, historically, black wealth has been in this country for hundreds of years. So it's nothing new. It just has never been seen.
Seen before, yes.
You're very right about that. What aspects of the story do you think will challenge traditional soap opera narratives, especially since, as you said, we haven't seen this before?
Well, I think because our cast is predominantly a black cast, there's the opportunity to tell more than one story. So I think that's very different. When I was on daytime television, I was the only black contract player on the show. So it was always one story, and I represented one story. So it's great to have a multi-dimensional cast, so that you're able to tell more than one story about the African American experience through the soap opera.
Right.
Okay. Now, Tamara, how did Anita Dupree's character speak to you and resonate with you and influence your decision to join the cast, if it did?
It absolutely did. Yes, when I was presented the opportunity to play Anita Dupree, I was very attracted because she wasn't that far from who I am, and she also is the embodiment of my role model that I grew up with my mother. My mother is a fierce African American woman who is glamorous and smart and proactive and fierce about her family and the love of her family and the protection of her family. She's a mama bear, and Anita Dupree is definitely that. I call her a lioness. So when I read, and also she is a former entertainer. She had a career in the music business, and she was also an actor at one point. And so, that's not very far from who I am. So it was a perfect fit, and it made it very easy to step into her shoes.
Perfect. I love that. And now, Daphne, what drew you to the role of Dr. Nicole Richardson?
So I joke, but it's not a joke. I was just happy to be a working actor, right? I'm like, I had taken 5 years off, not necessarily, but because I wanted to, right? And initially the audition comes out, I get two, short scenes, you put yourself on tape like we all do, and then you wait for a day or two or a few weeks in this case, because I waited for 3 weeks for them to say it's yours, and that was amazing. And then it took about 3 days. I woke up one morning, I'm like, holy cow, the magnitude of what this show is about to stand for, and what we are about to present to the world, which has never been done. Then that realization popped in, and I got insanely nervous. I was like, oh my God. But, after I met with Sheila Ducksworth, our executive producer, and Julie Carruthers, and they went further into the script, because I had never actually read the first script, and they were telling me all the details, and I'm like, oh my God, this is just absolutely amazing. It's going to be amazing. And from that moment forward, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. And I'm so proud to be on this project.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Now, your character has a lot to navigate, especially in her personal and professional life. How did you tap into that?
Ooh, well, You know, I realized shortly into starting to shoot that I am very much this character. Initially, I was like, she's so nice and she's so perfect, and her world is seemingly perfect. But, you know, you get into soaps and you have the roller coaster ride of emotions and the drama and trying to be, you know, the sound voice. I get a lot of that from my parents as far as my character, and being rooted and grounded. And yeah, I lost track. So.
That's okay, but let me just add, you know, and for those who don't know, Daphne plays Nicole Dupree Richardson, who is my daughter.
Yes.
So just
Yes,
to
there's
clarify,
that.
this
Yes.
is my
and
oldest
the apple
daughter.
doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's right. That's right. And then I have another daughter, Danny, who's played by Carla Mosley.
Of course.
Yeah.
And she's phenomenal.
What's that dynamic like for you two to portray and bring that to screen, especially portraying a family? You guys have to have that bond.
Yeah.
What's that like for you guys?
I don't know. I feel like we bonded from day one.
Immediately, yes.
From day one.
The four
you know?
of us, our dad, Clifton Davis, Carla Mosley, my sister, daughter. I just felt like it just melted together almost instantly.
Absolutely. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. I have a beautiful daughter. Too.
Now, about Clifton Davis, I know that's a friend of yours. Did that influence your decision to join the cast?
Well, you know, it's so funny because Clifton is a very, 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 very new friend of mine. We only met 6 months ago, back in July at the International Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem. We were privileged to be gala co-chairs of the festival, and so we only met at that time. And because we had to spend, you know, so much time together as part of the festival and representing and going to lunches and doing this and that, and we just hit it off immediately, you know. And of course, I knew who he was, and I was a fan since, you know, I was a kid, you know, watching him and Melba Moore on their, you know, historic television show. And so when we were in Winston-Salem, we were having breakfast, and he got a text from his agent talking about a new soap opera that was going to shoot in Atlanta. And I was like, oh, is that something you were interested in? He's like, I don't know. And we moved on. And then 2 months later, I get a phone call offering me the role of Anita. And so because Clifton and I had exchanged numbers, you know, I texted him and said, so are you doing this? Are you in conversations? Did you pass? What's going on? And he's like, oh, we're still in conversations. And I said, okay, well, they've offered me the role. We're talking about it. If it happens, I'll let you know. And you let me know what happens on your end, you know. And so that's what we did. And so we bided our time. And so, you know, I closed my deal. And as soon as I closed my deal, I sent an email to Sheila and Michelle Belgine, the head writers, and said, just, you know, by the way, I don't know if you're still talking to Clifton Davis about this, but just so you know, we spent time and we have chemistry and, you know, we like each other and it would be cool, you know, and I left it alone. And then a week or so later, they had us do a chemistry test, and the next morning I was like, okay, chemistry test, Clifton Davis. Okay.
Right.
But and then the next morning, you know, he signed his contract. So we're pleased as punch. We stand on set and giggle all the time. Because it's so perfect.
It is.
You guys have amazing chemistry, so what I'm hearing is you kind of got him the role.
No, I would not say that. I would not say that at all. No. I just put in a good word.
She had a wish list.
And
he was on top of it.
I just said, look, you know, it's already kind of sorta, so maybe you want to capitalize on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
I love that. How do you guys hope the show will influence conversations about wealth, identity, and power, especially in Black communities?
Well, for me, I hope that once we start airing it, it's just normalized, because it is normal for us, right? This is day to day. I was saying the other day, there are Duprees all over the world, right?
Yes.
A version of. This is not new. So the conversation is not new for us. It might be new for some other people, but I hope they embrace it. I hope that they, you know, see a different side, a different light, what they think they know. They don't, right? So I'm just hoping so much good comes out of this project. We'll see what happens.
Yes, and I would just add that, you know, as Daphne said, that it's normalized. You know, this level of Black success, wealth, and excellence has been around for hundreds of years, and so it's just now it's in the forefront. And so, again, it's hoping that people will accept it as, you know, something that's not odd.
Strange.
Exactly. And again, Black people are not a monolith. We have many, 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 many different stories and different life experiences. And so this is just, a sample of a big pie. I'm not going to say diaspora, but a pie of experiences of Black life. So, take and run with it because it's fabulous.
Right.
Amazing. Okay, one more question for you guys. What do you hope Beyond the Gates will contribute to the legacy of daytime television or Black art in general?
Well, for daytime television, being that I spent so much time, as well as Daphne, it's changing the face of it, like literally. It's changing the face of daytime television, and so we are all hoping and manifesting and visualizing that this show will be around for as long as the other soap operas have been, 50, 60,
70
Sheila
years.
Ducksworth says 100 years plus, and I'm like, yes, I'm all for that. And I'm hoping that Anita Dupree in 50 years, her portrait will be over the mantelpiece of her grandchildren who say, well, this was my mother, who started it all. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's that kind of legacy that is changing daytime TV.
Right.
And TV in
I was just
general.
gonna say TV in general,
Absolutely.
not just daytime.
Yeah.
And the amount of first, right? The first Black head writer, the first Black executive, and then both being women. The behind the scenes, in front of the camera, behind the camera. It's a majority of African American artists, whether they're creating our sets or our hair. The amount of people that are working because of this show that really haven't had the opportunities.
To be out front.
Exactly.
To be out front.
So that is pretty incredible.
And that is the difference. Because listen, I always have in mind Miss Diane Carroll, who I had the privilege of knowing personally, and her appearance as Dominique Devereaux back in the 70s, 80s on Dynasty, and it was like, yes, but she was brought into the show when the show was already up and running. We're starting from the ground up. And the central family of the show is the Black family, and that just has never happened before.
Amazing. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you.
Beyond the Gates is going to be premiering on CBS on February 24th. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.